Hey everyone, welcome to a new video. In this one, I'm going to be walking you through a really simple dropshipping strategy that you can use if you have less than $200 as a starting budget. A lot of people don't have a big budget when they look to get into dropshipping. So if that's you, if you have around $200 or less to spend, then make sure you stick around to the end because this could be one of the most useful videos that I put out there for you. Hey everyone, my name is Chris Wayne, and this is one of the most requested topics from you guys, one of the most requested questions, and that is, how do I get started if I only have $200 to spend? A lot of people who want to get into dropshipping don't really have a lot of money, and that's kind of the irony behind it. You need a bit of money to get started, but most people don't have a lot of money to get started. And that's where kind of the difficulty for a lot of people comes from, because they try and get into Facebook ads and they realize they don't have a budget to spend on Facebook ads and end up failing with the dropshipping stores and saying that dropshipping is saturated, it doesn't work, it's all a scam, etc. But that's mainly because they don't have enough budget to get started. So I'm going to be going through a really simple strategy with you in this video that's going to sort of walk you through how to do this, even if you only have $200 to start with. Now, I can actually relate to this because when I started dropshipping around 2 years ago, I only had £250 in my pocket, and that took me months of saving up, months and months to save that £250 just to have a starting budget with dropshipping. Now, I made the mistake of going straight into Facebook ads. Luckily, I found a product quite early on within my first £150, I think it was, that allowed me to make a little bit of profit, that allowed me to eventually snowball it into what I built up to today. But if I was going to be doing this again with that kind of money, I'd be looking at a different strategy and looking at a probably cheaper and easier way to get going. And that's what I'm going to be talking to you about in this video. So let's just jump straight into this. One of the first things people think about when they're looking to start dropshipping is, what are the initial costs? What are the running costs? Now, as you probably already know, Shopify charged $29 per month for that platform. Now, I'm not going to include that in this $200 sort of budget we've got for this video because they do give you a 2-week free trial. There is a link in the description if you want that. But because you get that 2-week free trial, by the time you get this set up, you get 2 weeks to try it out. So if you haven't made any sales by that point, you can just cancel it and you won't get charged because they only charge your card at the end of that 2 weeks. So I'm not going to include the $29 in the budget. The platform is the platform. Same with the apps. You get a lot of free trials. A lot of apps are free. So if you haven't made any sales by the end of that 2-week period, then you can just cancel the apps, cancel the stores, and you've not been charged for anything. So we're still at that $200 budget. The only thing you are going to have to pay for is your domain. You're going to have to buy a domain, whether you do that through Shopify or GoDaddy, but you can do it whichever domain provider you want to go with. That's usually around $10, $15, depending on where you go. So that is going to be coming out of the budget. So we'll take $15 out straight away for the domain because you're not going to be able to get away with yourbrand.myshopify.com. It doesn't look professional. If you are doing that, you need to stop. So go out there, get yourself a domain for say $15. That takes us down to $185 left of our budget. So the next thing we have to do is go and find that product, find that winning product without having to need a bunch of testing and a bunch of money being spent on trying to find that product that we're going to look to sell. Now, finding your product, this product we're going to sell on this tight of a budget, is one of the most important, if not the most important things you need to do. If you get this wrong, you could pretty much waste most of the money. So you need to spend a lot of time finding this, and it is going to take you some time to do it, but that's where you have to make that sort of sacrifice. You have to spend more time to do this because you have a lower budget. Remember, the more dud products you have, the more money you have to spend on testing. So if we can find that winner from the very first product, that is going to make a massive difference, and it's going to explode everything for you, and it's going to start snowballing. So I wouldn't try and find a product that nobody's selling. Don't try and be the first person to find a product, especially when you're doing it right now. Further on down the line, yes, great, go for it. Find something that nobody else is doing because that's where you're going to make most of your money. But if you're just getting started with a really tight budget, what you need to be looking at is you need to be looking for products that are winning right now. Products that people are already selling and products that are proven to sell. Those are going to be your winning product, especially with a low budget. So spend some time researching products before you even attempt to build your stuff, before you even attempt to even think about what types of store you're going to build. Try and find that product first. Now, you could go off and use things like Sell the Trend, but I'm not going to include that in this video because it's kind of a paid app and we're trying to limit the amount we're spending on this budget. So you have to try and find free methods. So what I would advise you to do instead is head over to Instagram and actually search for pages on Instagram in the niche you're kind of interested in. Go through as many pages as you possibly can. Look through all the feeds of all the pages in say, the last week or two, and try and find posts on those pages where they're doing a shout out for a product. There's actually a post on there for a product that goes back to somebody's dropshipping page. Once you find a product on a particular niche Instagram page, I want you to make a note of the website and a note of the product, and keep repeating this process over and over and over again. And this is where I'm saying it's going to take you a little bit more time, but I want you to try and find as many pages in that one niche and as many products as you can in that one niche. When you start to see the same website selling the same products across different Instagram pages, that's the product you want to go for. Now, if you can find that product and that website on 3 separate Instagram accounts, at a minimum, 3 is a minimum, then you know that product is selling right now. And that's the product that you want to go for on your store. And the reason you want to go for that product is because that website wouldn't be buying these multiple Instagram shout outs if the product wasn't working. They would have done one shout out, found out it didn't work. They may have done a couple of others, but they're not going to have spent more. So you want to be looking for at least 3 pages where there are a lot of shout outs and they've got a decent amount of engagement on the actual post. And like I said, this is going to take you a bit of time, but that is the sacrifice you have to make if you don't have a big budget. You can't afford to test a bunch of products, so you have to sort of spend time looking for them yourself manually. And that is the downside to it, but if you don't have the money, you have to do that. Now, what I would suggest to do is find the product before you build your store, because you've only got a limited window for free on that store. You've only got 2 weeks plus whatever trials you have on your apps. So you want to know what products you want to sell before you even bother building that store. You want to get as much time as you possibly can for free on the Shopify store. So go out, find your product, find the website that is doing well with that product, and then go and build your store, because that's going to give you the biggest chance at success. So what you need to do now that you have your products and you have your store built, you need to head over to Instagram again, and you need to find pages within the niche for that product that have a decent following, somewhere in the region of 50 to 500,000, and also have a great engagement. Now, this is one of the biggest traps when it comes to Instagram influencers, is there are a lot of fake pages out there with fake followers, and they will charge you a lot of money to do a shout out on the page, and I will guarantee you won't get a single sale from a lot of them. Now, I've already done a video about how to find high engagement pages on Instagram, so if you haven't seen that, make sure you go and check that out after this video, because that will save you a lot of time and a lot of money as well. For pages that are in the region of 50 to 500,000, you should be looking at around $40 to $80 per shout out. That's a rough estimate. It could be a little bit lower, it could be a little bit higher. Now, because you don't have a large budget, you need to be very selective with these pages. Don't waste money on these. Be very, very strict about which pages you choose. Try and reach out to as many different pages as you possibly can, and don't rely on the first one that gets back to you. Don't just go to them because they were the first. Be very selective, line them all up, and figure out which one you think has the highest potential for success with your store and with your product. Once you've found that person, you want to create your own ad. Now, a really simple way to do that is using something like Animoto. There is a link in the description. It does have a 1-month free trial, so we can include that in this budget, because hopefully by the end of that month, you would have made some sales to be able to afford to pay for that app. And if you're thinking about where you can get the footage from, you want to do it quickly, then you can take them from the supplier on AliExpress. The suppliers should have videos. A lot of suppliers do. If the product page you're looking at doesn't, go and check other suppliers on AliExpress. So some of them may have product videos that you can use within your ad. And this is what makes dropshipping so difficult. It's all the different moving parts. You have a lot of things you need to be paying attention to. And this is why a lot of people don't make a success of it, because there is a lot to pay attention to, especially if you're doing it on your own. At the beginning, it's very difficult to get that momentum, but as soon as you start getting that ball rolling, you start getting some money coming in, it becomes a lot easier. You got to keep doing it over and over and over again. And once you start seeing a little bit of success, you can move over to Facebook ads, and you can start targeting people within the niche. You can start targeting your custom audiences and all that kind of fun stuff over in Facebook. And that's where it gets a lot more easier, and it's easier to scale, it's easier to grow, and that's where you can make most money. So if we're down to $185 on our budget, if you're spending say $50 per Instagram influencer, you can get kind of 3, maybe 4 Instagram influencers to do a shout out on your product. And that should allow you, if you pick the right products and you've picked the right pages and you've got a really nice professional looking store, then that should get you some sales. And if that gets you some sales, you should be in a profit by that point. But if you only have a budget of $200, this is kind of the best way to do it to get started. But the more time you can put into this, the more chance you have of success. So don't rush into it. Don't just find the first product you come across and go, that one, that'll do. Don't go to the first Instagram influencer and think, oh yeah, they're all right, they'll do. Really put the time in to make sure you get this right, because with a small budget, you don't have room for mistakes. And that's where a lot of people go wrong with this. They rush into it, they see the dollar signs and they're off, and it doesn't work like that. You have to be a bit sort of focused and a bit stricter with what you do. And you have to be very careful who you choose and sort of which influencers you go for. So yeah, if I was starting again, that is what I would do. That is how I would do this at a really cheap cost. That is probably the best way to do this now if you don't have a lot of money, especially if you're kind of younger and you don't really have a high paying job. Getting into this is difficult, and if you can save up $200, this is probably the best strategy to be able to get started and hopefully make enough sales to allow you to transition over to Facebook and start growing it that way. So yeah, that's kind of how I do it if I was starting this. Hopefully you found that useful. Hopefully if you're just getting started, this is going to work for you. I'd love to hear what you think. Drop me a comment down below, because I am still answering everything on this channel. It's getting harder and harder, but I am getting around to answering all your questions that you drop in there. So if you have any questions at all, pop them down below. I'll get back to you on that. If you found this video useful, please make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you're new. If you want to learn more about dropshipping, all the links are in the description, so go and check them out. But I think that's the end of this one. Hope you enjoyed it. I'll catch you in the next one.